And you come from a very strong investment background,
Yes.
a very strong one. What could you say about clean tech investment today, and any particular sectors you would focus on? Solar, electric transport, wind. What do you think the situation is today compared to the recent history, and where do you think it will go in the next, we'll say, 5 years, which is a very long time frame for investment discussions?
I'm glad that you've allocated a 2-hour time block for me to answer this question. So I'll try to be succinct. Is that I think there are 4 themes that we think about. The first is oil pricing, and with the oil price regime going down, what does that mean for new investments? The second is the regulatory regime, and specifically what we saw with China and the U.S. coming out with a tripling of where they want to have their renewable energy over the next 5 years. The third is the constant falling down of renewable energy technology pricing, so things like solar, wind, LED pricing continues to go down, which makes it much more affordable for people like you and I. And then the fourth thing is the public markets are providing great exits out there. So you could be an entrepreneur, start a company, sell it, or go to the public markets. 3 or 4 years ago, it was dire. And nowadays you're seeing billion-dollar companies out in the marketplace. So each of those 4 things, I think, is reached an inflection point now compared to the way that it was even this time last year.
And you're the head of Masdar Capital.
Yes.
What do you look for? You invest in a wide variety of. What do you look for when you're looking for a good investment for Masdar Capital?
We try not to lose money is our first thing. So
probably a good idea.
So I look for great entrepreneurs. I look for folks that have seen the movie before, who are wanting to build companies. So it's a question of, do you bet on the jockey or do you bet on the horse? I bet on the jockey. And I think that what I look for are great entrepreneurs. The second thing is that I like to invest into rising tide environments. So environments where you're seeing an uplift in the solar market because of depressed pricing of solar ASPs. Things like you're seeing on the regulatory regime with wind. I think investing into a market that's falling is tough. Investing in an entrepreneur that hasn't made it before is tough. I think markets and the entrepreneur, those are the 2 things that I look for.
You're also on the board of Grid Alternatives.
Yes.
It's a wonderful organization. We love it. Can you speak a little bit about what it does and why you chose Grid Alternatives instead of one of the other many great organizations out there?
My view is pretty simple. I think personally, seeing a juxtaposition of what you do professionally and personally with your time is something that we should all aspire to. The concept of giving back, if you can, is something you should aspire to. The question of why grid, what grid fundamentally does is their idea is that a solar panel costs $20,000, but it shouldn't only be for the rich people who can afford a solar panel for $20,000. In fact, the people that are low and medium income spend over 50% of their free cash flow every month into energy. And so if I can provide them an alternative to that, if they're able to get their energy from a solar panel instead, then they can use that free cash flow to things like hopefully education, healthcare, food, etc. That it frees up cash for them. For a rich person who's saving a couple $100s a month, it doesn't really make that much of a difference. So you've created this weird externality. Is the rich person can afford a $20,000 panel, their savings, it doesn't matter. A poor person can't afford the panel, but their savings do matter. We're trying to flip that equation by giving folks access to renewable energy.
And I think you're not going to answer the last one, but could you perhaps mention 3 clean tech stocks you really like right now? If you skip it.
Yeah, no, I don't really think about stocks, to be honest. I think about companies, and we build companies. We're building companies for 10 or 15 years. I don't really think about stocks.